Yeah, what's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-J, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for Bel-Air Episode 3 recap. You know, they dropped 3 episodes. This is the third one, getting us all caught up on everything. And yes, definitely check out Episode 1 and 2 recap if you missed that so you can get all caught up. So let's break down Episode 3 of the new show, the new series, Bel-Air. And yes, it's getting pretty intense, fam. And I'm loving this show so far, so let's get right into it. So from the last episode, we remember that the security guard found some things in Will's bag. And Will is just like, yo, that's not mine. I don't know who it is. You know, if I'm lying, I'm flying, and the whole nine. Like, and they're just like, who could have done it? You know, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, they're like, who could have put that in your bag? Who could have done it? And he's like, I don't know. You know, I know that kid, you know, Connor, you know, after I hit him, you know, he definitely has something against me. So it might be him. And they're, you know, really thinking about it. Maybe it could be him. Maybe it could be Connor, right? But at the same time, they're questioning your boy Carlton. And Carlton's like, yeah, no, you know, I don't think it's him. And he's defending, you know, Connor. And it's like, yeah, you know, he's mad at him and everything, but he wouldn't do anything like that, like plant stuff in Will's bag like that. And Will is like, yo, if it isn't Connor, like, I don't know who else could have done it. Like, either it's Connor or it could be Carlton. Like, there's nobody else. And, you know, Carlton's like, yeah, if come to find out, you know, Will is actually not liked as he thinks he is, right? So, yeah, Will is just like, yo, the only other person I can think of is Carlton. And they're questioning Carlton, like, listen, did you really do this? Do you know who did this? And he's like, I don't know who did it. And, you know, I wouldn't do it like that. So they're both just looking at Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, and they definitely trying to crack down on what happened and how this happened and how they found something in Will's bag. And, you know, this guy Carlton's like, well, I wouldn't do that to him. You know, he is family, just really faking. He really does not like Will. So Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil's like, you know what? We're going to get down to the bottom of this one way or another. We're going to find out, right? So the next morning, Will wakes up and he's like, man, this is just like crazy that he has in-school suspension and everything because of all this and that. So they're coming downstairs. They're all dressed, ready to go. You know, your boy Carlton is looking at Will on the other side of the steps like, oh, man, here he comes. So they try to leave, and Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil's like, come here. And they're like, listen, we're going to go to the school, and we're going to crack down on this. We're going to find out exactly what happened, what the process was. And, yeah, we're going to find out who did this to you, Will, because we believe that you didn't do it. You didn't put that stuff in your bag. And Carlton's just like, yeah, you know, they're like, you're going to ask around, Carlton. And Carlton's like, yeah, of course, I'm going to find out. And, you know, I hope whoever did it, you know, allegedly did it, you know, gets the penalty or whatever. So Will's just like, yeah, well, what if you find out it's one of your people? You know what I'm saying? Are you still going to let us know? Going to let us know that it's one of your boys or whatever? And Carlton's like, yeah, of course I will. Of course I will, right? He knows that Connor did it. He knows. We all know Connor put that stuff in Will's bag. So Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil like, listen, whoever it is, they're going to pay. They're going to really, really pay for what they did trying to set up Will like this. They're really going to pay. It's going to be high consequences for that. So your boy Carlton, being that he knows what's going on, he's huffing and puffing and having an anxiety attack again. So he's talking to Connor like, Connor, man, why did you do that? And Connor's like, yo, man, he attacked us. You know, he attacked us. And, yeah, this is just getting him back. He's like, yo, you shouldn't have done that. You went overboard. You know, you're out of line. You're out of pocket for doing something like that. He's like, listen, we're never going to get caught. Don't even worry about it. We're never going to get caught. And Carlton is like, listen, man, my father took down, you know, these undercover cops and everything else like that. And my mom, she's basically just a black mom. And you don't mess with black moms. Like, they're going to find out one way or another. They're going to find out. Like, Carlton is scared. And he's scared for Connor. That's his boy. But, you know, Connor's like, oh, shoot. Okay. So what are we going to do? And Carlton's basically like, hey, listen, we have to find a way to free Will. We have to find a way to free Will, get him, you know, get somebody else to take the blame or whatever the case is. So now Will is in school suspension and he's doing what he does best, right? He's drawing his crown, just drawing and doing all this and that, right? Doing some artwork. So the guy's like, what are you doing? Only homework should be done in here. There shouldn't be any doodling. And yeah, you know, Will is definitely a good artist in all of that. And the guy comes over and he's like, yeah, you know, do your homework. Don't be doing no crazy stuff. And he's like, this is not doodling. This is art. So the guy snatches the paper away from Will, like, what? Man, listen. And he crumbles it up and he shoots it like it's a basketball, turns around to Will, and he's like, swish. And I'm like, man, what a jerk, right? This guy is a jerk. And it's like, man, Will is like, oh, man, I'm in the wrong school. Like, like he wants to do something to him. So now we see Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. They're talking to the principal, and the principal's like, yeah, we've known each other for years and everything else like that. So Uncle Phil's like, yeah, I'm interested as to know what the process is. Like, yeah, we did this and we questioned that. We questioned students and we did some cross references, and it seems that, Will did have some stuff in his bag. And they're just like, well, did you check the cameras? Aunt Viv was like, I saw like 15 cameras. And he's looking through his paperwork and da-da-da-da. And he's like, well, we didn't check the cameras. They're like, you didn't check the cameras? Like, what the heck, man? Like, you need to check the cameras. Well, we did find something in his bag. And Uncle Phil's like, we don't care. Like, you need to check the cameras to see who put it in his bag, right? So the guy's like, okay, oh, well, he's like, it would take us all week to do it. And Uncle Phil's like, I don't care how long it takes. And here comes Aunt Viv, black mom at her finest. She's like, listen, you got 24 hours to check the cameras and come up with that. Until then, yeah, Will, he's innocent until proven guilty, right? So guess what? Now Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv go to the detention, and the guy's like, how can I help you? He's like, yeah, you can. Will is going back to class. He's out of in-school suspension. And, they basically tell him, like, listen, they're going to do an investigation on the cameras. You're not free to go yet, but they're still going to do an investigation. Until then, you're going back to class. And, Will's just like, man, y'all still moving mountains for me. And, of course, Uncle Phil's like, yeah, and we're ready for you to climb those mountains. We're here for you, and definitely it's a tender moment. And he feels like definitely they care about him at that point. So he gets his stuff and he walks out the class and he goes to the teacher like, swish, like, I'm out of here, right? Right back at you, whatever. I'm not going to say. I know how Will feels, man. I know how it feels. Yeah, I was in detention too. So anyway, now Will is out having lunch and Lisa comes over. She's like, congratulations. You got out of detention and everything else like that. And they're talking about what's going on and who could have did what. And, she's asking him, who do you think could have done it? He's probably like, and he's like, yeah, Connor or whoever. And they're joking around about stuff. She's trying to make him feel better, trying to help him adapt to everything, right? So some girls come over and like, good luck on the game tonight, Will, da-da-da-da. So, they kind of feeling Will like that. They see he's a star basketball player, and then they look at Lisa like, mm-hmm. And Lisa's like, the thirst is real. The thirst is real. These thirsty girls, right? So he's like, yo, don't hate. You know what I'm saying? They just, congratulating me and wishing me luck. You okay with that? So he's joking around. He says something, whatever, has like chicken tender with like mustard on it. And she's joking with him. And then she hits like his arm and the mustard gets on his jacket. She's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Whatever. He's trying to wipe it off. And she's like, oh my God, it's getting worse. And here comes the iconic moment when your boy takes the jacket and he puts it inside out. It got that special little design in the lining of the jacket, right? So he's like, yo, I'm feeling this, right? It's feeling this vibe, whatever. He's posing, doing his Will Smith thing, posing in front of Lisa. Like, yeah, and she's like, yo, that jacket's a whole vibe, right? That's what they say. The jacket's a whole vibe, right? So he's feeling it and it's all good. They're joking around and, they're just like, yeah, we're still friends. It's all good. So now Will rolls over to Carlton like, yo, they said that a witness came forward and admitted that they were the ones that put something in my bag and they didn't even go to the school. Like, what's that about? He's like, yo, don't worry about it. Just take the win. Just take the win. Meaning like, yeah, Carlton knows who did it. He's not going to give it up. He's like, yo, just walk away from it all. And he's like, yeah, I see what you're doing. I see what's going on. Will figured it out that he knows that these guys, Connor and Carlton, had something to do with something getting in his bag. So Carlton's just like, yo, man, it is what it is. Like, don't worry about it. Just walk away. Like, it's over. Like, just do your thing. So Carlton, he's basically on some like, yeah, Connor messed up and I got to save face and not give him up. So Will walks away, but at the same time, he sees Lisa walking down in the library. So, of course, his face turns and he's like, hey, what's up? What's good? And Carlton sees that they say hello to each other. So Will looks back like, yeah, I told you, bro. I'm coming through. I'm coming through. And, of course, Carlton's still jealous, still on some like, don't be talking to my ex-girl, whatever. He going to feel how he feel. So now we got, Uncle Phil and Jeffrey, and they're playing pool, and they super cool, man. These dudes are super cool, laid back. It's a whole different vibe from the Fresh Prince for real. Like, this a whole different level where they're playing pool, talking about things, and, basically talking about how, the campaign's going on, and about, of course, Will, and about the whole situation and everything else like that. And he's really trying to connect with his fraternity to get things going for his campaign, get an endorsement and everything else like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool to see that Jeffrey and Uncle Phil got this brotherly vibe on some like, yo, we cool and I can come to you for advice. And they like boys. They really like boys. So, your boy Carlton put little glasses on. He trying to be cool and take Lisa to get something to eat, and this is kind of like a tradition for her to go to this little crawfish fish place and get some food or whatever. And they start to talking, and she's like, listen, I really care about you and your issues. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have this anxiety issues, and you definitely need to get help. And he's like, yo, I appreciate that you care. And she's like, yeah, I do. So they have a little tender moment where, Lisa definitely is telling Carlton that she really cares about him, but he has to really do something about, this addiction problem. And he definitely has a bad addiction problem that he needs help with, right? So now we see Will and Uncle Phil. And Uncle Phil rolls over to Will, and he gives him a book. He gives him the book. It was called The Alchemist. And he said, what's this about? He said, it's about a young man, basically giving it all up for his dreams and doing what he has to do in order to achieve his dreams. And he's like, okay, I appreciate you giving me that book. So Uncle Phil is trying to just, pour into Will. And that's what we remember, right? That's what we remember. So Uncle Phil's like, listen, I'm going to this fraternity thing to reconnect with my brothers. I want you to come with me, come and volunteer and everything else like that. So he's like, yeah, I'm with that. Will's like, okay. He's like really surprised that he invited him. But he's like, yeah, okay, I'm with that. And Uncle Phil's like, see, that's what I'm talking about there. And Will is like, what? And Uncle Phil's like a man keeping his word, keeping his word about whatever it is. That's what a man is all about. So, again, giving him a little bit more wisdom, definitely re-emphasizing just being a man of your word, and definitely just being there and being about what you say you're going to do. So he gives him £1. It's all good. These guys are definitely bonding more so than ever. Then Will gets a message. He gets a text message. And yeah, it says, better have your vest when we catch you, right? So you know who that's from. That's from dude back in Philly trying to get at Will. So now we see your boy Carlton. He's in the kitchen reading, doing whatever he's doing. And then Aunt Viv comes in, and they're talking about, the whole situation. And, really it's like she still doesn't buy that somebody came forward or whatever. But she's really trying to, comfort Carlton to let him know that they didn't forget about him, that we're all adapting to Will, and Will is adapting to us, and we're going to come together as a family. We're going to be there for each other, because he does feel kind of neglected or whatever, and she kind of feels that. She sees that as well. So here comes Uncle Phil, and Uncle Phil's like, all right, yeah, we're going to get ready to go see this fraternity, see my brothers and everything. And, Carlton's really excited until he says, well, Will's going to come with us too. And he's like, what? That was our thing to go to the fraternity. He's like, well, we're going to bring Will along with us now that he's part of the family, and Carlton, again, is just like, he doesn't want Will to be a part of it. So, they're doing what they can to really kind of, infuse Will into the family, but Carlton feels like it's being forced or feels like he's being neglected. He just doesn't like the change. So now they get to the crawfish spot where they're cooking crawfish, and they having, their brotherly love and brotherly fraternity thing going on. And they see, Uncle Phil and some people showing him love. And then he sees, the Reverend that he wants to talk to get an endorsement for, him running for district attorney. So he rolls over to talk to him. He's like, hey, what's going on? Not to interrupt. Just wanted to say hello to you guys. And, Will and Carlton, they're looking on like, okay, dad's doing his thing. Uncle Phil's doing his thing. And yeah, kind of the reverend's like, okay, yeah, cool. Good to see you. And kind of waves them off, right? Kind of waves them off like, yeah, I was in the middle of talking. Uncle Phil feels that and he walks away on some like, okay, they not really showing love. Will is peeping everything out as to what's going on. But then Uncle Phil runs into one of his boys and he's like, yo, what's going on? Shows Uncle Phil some love and they're talking about everything. And he says, yeah, I'm down here to talk to the Reverend, maybe we can sit down and talk with him. And then he says, yeah, my boys are here, my son, of course, you remember him. And this is my nephew, Will, and they're here to volunteer and help out. And Carlton's like, what? It's like, yeah, they're going to help out. Whatever you need, just tell them what you need, whatever it is, getting chairs, whatever it is. So now we shoot back to the house and Aunt Viv is having a party, right, with her sorority sisters, right? So, it seems to be a fraternity sorority episode. And yeah, they're having a good time and, everybody's talking about things and talking about Aunt Viv and how she's a great artist and how they remember how she's doing this and that. And they're just really having a good old time. Now, she asked Hillary to cook for her, right? Cook for the whole thing, cater the whole thing. And she did, and everybody's loving the food. So, of course, Aunt Viv is trying to endorse her to her sisters. If you need anything, if you need a caterer, definitely shout out my daughter, right? So she's trying to put a plug in everybody's ear for Hillary. Again, that's what moms do, right? And dads. So Will is helping out and carrying chairs. Your boy Carlton's just sitting there on the phone or whatever. He's not helping out at all. These overprivileged kids, right? And then he sees the guy that he needs to talk to because he wants to get an internship to definitely make his, resume or whatever look good as far as the school is concerned and everything else like that. So he sees the guy. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to him, so I can get into the school. And Will's like, yo, what are you talking about, man? Remember, you're rich. You can get into any school, right? And Carlton's like, listen, I want everything handed to me. And it's just like a real snobby attitude. So Will's just like, okay, I hear you, but are you going to help me out? Of course, Carlton walks away. So we seeing, the alphas and, they're doing their stepping and everything else like that. Uncle Phil's sitting down with the brothers and he's talking to the brothers about, his campaign and what he's going to do. And, they're really kind of like, okay, but still, we haven't seen you in a minute. So the Reverend comes and sits down with him. And he's like, yeah, I'm definitely running for district attorney. I would like to have a talk with you to get the endorsement. He's like, why should I endorse you? Like, we haven't seen you in a while. Like, while we was here in the trenches, you was basically getting rich. So now we shoot over back to the party. And the lady that hooked up Hillary for that interview is mad because Hillary went online and basically dragged that company. And that made the lady look bad. And she's like, I want an apology from Hillary. And Hillary's like, yo, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. And she walks away. And the lady, she is mad because now she kind of looks bad. And Hillary is really just being who Hillary is. She's just like, yo, I'm not going to apologize for people who don't like my stuff and diss my family and like our race, right? So the lady's like, listen, all these bridges that you built, Hillary's burning them. The ones that you took years are now falling apart. And then she walks away. So, it was just like, man, okay, I got to clean this up. I got to clean this fire up now, right? So they shoot back to the fraternity spot, right, the alpha spot, and they're sitting down, Carlton's sitting down talking to the guy. He's the head that, basically gives a good word for students. And we go back to the Reverend and Uncle Phil. And the Reverend's just like, yo, when one of our brothers, fell short and he was down and out, we did what we had to do to raise funds, and you weren't there. And Uncle Phil was like, man, I didn't know about that. If I would have known about that, I would have did something about it, But he's like blaming Uncle Phil for being successful and trying to take care of his family. He's like, yo, don't blame me for being successful and trying to take care of my family and being successful. And he's like, listen, man, like, we needed you. Like, we all the brothers, we needed you, and you weren't there. Basically, you weren't there when we needed you to be there with the rest of the brothers. And how could I really endorse somebody like that? So man, the Reverend was handing it to Uncle Phil like, you on this high and mighty while we down here in the trenches, right? So Will is peeping everything that's going on. He's really understanding what's going on. So, man, the Reverend walks away. Uncle Phil's like, well, looking at the time, I got to take my son to a lacrosse game, right? So Will rolls up, is like, yo, you going to let that man talk to you like that? Uncle Phil's like, listen, grab Carlton, we're leaving, right? So Will is just like, man, I got to do something about this. Like, he doesn't like what's going down. So now we shoot back to the sorority party back at the Banks house. And, Hillary's showing her video as far as what she's saying about the company and everything else like that. And the other sisters are just like, man, I applaud you. I applaud you, Hillary. You got to put people in their place, when they're disrespecting our race, disrespecting our culture and everything else like that. So she's like excited because the sorority sisters are feeling that. But of course, Aunt Viv was just like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but there is tact and there is a way to do things. And what you've done is you're basically like destroying some of the relationships that I built because I'm trying to hook you up. But, Hillary's just like, yo, I'm just being me. How you going to like blame me for being me? And they're going back and forth like, listen, I'm hooking you up. And Hillary's like, yo, you're trying to control my life, because your life is not in control and you gave up your art, for whatever. So basically she's saying you gave up your dreams, but I'm not giving up my dream. So Hillary is definitely that millennial that's just like, listen, I'm going to go for mine. I'm not going to let anybody tell me what to do. So we're back with Carlton. Carlton's still trying to get this endorsement. And Will rolls over to Carlton like, yo, we about to go. But he doesn't say it because he's getting the idea of how he can help Uncle Phil. So he's in mid-sentence and Carlton's like, yo, are you having a breakdown or something? Are you okay? He's like, nah, it's okay. And then he says to the guy, hey, listen, Carlton's a good guy. Definitely he can use your endorsement, right? So Will leaves. Carlton's like, listen, I could really use the internship. And he's like, well, I retired from that. Now this person is in control. You're like, you definitely need to get in good with this person, right? So now we flip over and everybody hears Will and he's on the mic. He grabs the microphone, I guess, from the DJ. He's like, yo, what's going on? Everybody, what's going on? My name is Will Smith and that's my Uncle Phil. and Uncle Phil's like, what is this kid doing now, right? And Will is like, yeah, I'm up here, representing, for Yama Craw. Y'all know Yama Craw? And the brothers is like, man, you better get your skinny butt off the stage right now before we come up there and get you, da-da-da. So he's like, listen, you going to get me off the stage, whatever. So Uncle Phil tries to go up there and stop him or whatever. And, of course, Carlton, he's embarrassed now. Of course, again, he's embarrassed. But, yeah, Will is like, yeah, I want to see some moves. Yama Craw, show me how to step. Yama Craw, why don't you show the people how to step? Like, how you do it? And then Will breaks out and does some crazy moves. It's not stepping at all. It's not even what they do. But he kind of, makes a joke about it, whatever, kind of like to ease the tension. And he's like, yo, I need you to show me. I want you to show me how it's done. I want you to show all of us how it's done, right? So the guy's up there, and Will is like, Yama Craw, Yama Craw, Yama Craw. So everybody starts saying his name, right? They call him Yama Craw because that's where he's from, Yama Craw, Tennessee or something like that, right? So he's like, all right, I'm going to show you, nephew, how it's done. I'm going to show you how it's done. He's like, okay. So Will goes to the side, right? And he's all excited, right? And Will knows what he's doing. So Uncle Phil starts to break out in his step, right? He starts to do his step. And then the other brothers come and they join in with the step, right? The younger brothers. And, they start doing the step, right? Ice, right? They do all that alpha stepping. And, yeah, they doing their thing, right? Doing their thing. Uncle Phil is making it happen, right? You think he all stiff and everything, but he's showing them that he's not stiff, that he's not this just, rich guy, rich, lawyer now. Now, he definitely remembers the step. And it even gets the Reverend and the rest of the brothers up, and they get into it as well. And, yeah, they seeing that, yeah, Uncle Phil still has it. Uncle Phil still has it. And that's exactly what Will wanted them to see, that Uncle Phil definitely still is in connection with the brothers, even though the brothers felt like that. So, yeah, Will is cheering them on. Uncle Phil made it happen. The brothers are clapping. They're like, yeah, he still got it. They're excited about seeing, Uncle Phil and the other brothers step the way they do. So, yeah, Uncle Phil shows and proves that he still is connected to the brothers, to the fraternity, and the Reverend is definitely feeling that. And, yeah, definitely, the brothers are into it. The brothers see that, yeah, Uncle Phil still got it, period. And Uncle Phil is just like, man, he can't believe that he did it, but he lets the Reverend know. The Reverend's like, hey, welcome back. And Uncle Phil is just like, listen, it's always been in me. It's always been in me. So, yeah, he actually gives him a pound and a hug, like, all right, brother. All right, brother. He's like, yeah, so can we have that conversation? It's like, yeah, we can have that conversation definitely now, because, the Reverend just wanted to see that he was still connected and still in touch with the people, still in touch with the brothers. Of course, Carlton's looking on all jealous, like looking at Will. And he's like, yeah, that young man up there, he has a story, right? What's his story? And Uncle Phil is like, listen, we could sit down and we could definitely talk about, his story as well. So now we shoot back to the house. The party's over. The sorority party's over. And Aunt Viv is there with her friend, and they're looking at, Aunt Viv's artwork. And her friend is like, listen, I don't know why you gave that up. Like, you're just so amazing and everything. You should get back into it. So we see Will and Uncle Phil go in there with their little step or whatever. And Will is definitely congratulating Uncle Phil. Like, definitely they are bonding real tight. And, Will's just like, yeah, Aunt Viv, you should have seen Uncle Phil. He did his thing. Yamacraw is back. He's like, yeah, baby, I'm back. And he's feeling himself, feeling himself. And Will's just like, Yamacraw. So, they definitely are bonded, but that does not make Carlton feel any better about his place, right? He feels like he's losing his place as a son in the family, right? So her friend is like, okay, well, we was talking about Aunt Viv getting back into it. So now here comes your boy Jeffrey, and Jeffrey is talking or whatever, and he's hollering at the young lady, like, hey, how you doing? She's like, hey, Jeffrey. He's like, hey, I'm trying to just be where you at right now. So we see your boy Jeffrey, man. He definitely got some swag on him, and he's trying to holler at, Aunt Viv's friend. And Will's like, yo, Jeffrey got some swag on him, for real, for real. So, yeah, so Carlton goes up the steps. He didn't get his endorsement, and Uncle Phil's like, listen, we'll talk, Carlton. Don't even worry about it. And Carlton's just like, yeah, okay. So Carlton didn't get what he wanted done, but everybody else seems to have accomplished it, right? Whatever it is. So, Aunt Viv is like, listen, we have to talk about your daughter, Hillary. Like, seriously, we got to talk about it. So they tell Will that his stuff came. His mom sent all his sneakers and his gear and stuff like that. He's like, yeah, just in time for the game. So he's looking through, all his kicks or whatever. And he's like, yeah, oh, man. And he's just like, okay, he pulls out a couple pairs. He's like, all right, we're going to wear you tonight. You going to show out? Because I'm going to show out, right? So he's ready to go. He finally got his sneakers and everything. He's ready to go. Now, your boy Carlton has his lacrosse game at the same time. Will has his basketball game. So the Banks, they decide to go see Will's basketball game first for the first half and then go see Carlton for the second half. So now Hillary comes through and, yeah, Aunt Viv and Hillary start talking. So Will's on the bench. He's waiting. Now, Carlton, he's on the lacrosse field and he's looking to the stands. He's like, yo, where they at? So he's looking for his family. But, yeah, they're at the basketball game first. And he's like, man. So, of course, he's upset about that, man. Carlton's just upset about everything, boy. And then he gets knocked down, like, bam. Somebody knocked him down. And he's just real frustrated, right? So now the game starts and the opposing team scored 4 points already. And Will is on the bench. And he's like, okay, what's going on? He didn't start. But he's just looking. He's anxious. He's ready to get in. He wants to play. He's really just like, okay, I'm going to wait my turn. I'm not going to trip. I'm going to wait my turn. So, Aunt Viv is like, listen, it's time to cut ties. You want to do this and that. You want to be on your own. It's been 2 years, and it's time to cut some ties. So, yeah, The game is still 4-zip. And yeah, Aunt Viv is just getting into it. Like, listen, you want to be on your own? Show me what you got. Show me what you got. So they're having this discussion at Will's basketball game. Will again, ready to play, ready to get in. And he's about to get in, and Uncle Phil's like, okay, Will's about to get in. Will's about to get in. He interrupts them on purpose. Like, Will's about to get in. Let's watch the game. Let's focus on the game. So Will is ready, boy. He finally got on the team. He didn't start, but that's okay. But again, he's coming to do business. He's coming to work. He's coming to make things happen. So he starts getting busy. He scores the first point for Bel-Air, the first 2 points. So now they on a roll, right? So, yeah, Will's about to get into it. He's about to make things happen. And, yeah, the Banks are there to cheer him on. So he's doing this thing. You know, Will, if you've seen the first episode, Will got some skills, right? And now on the field, we see Carlton, boy. He's having a hard time. He's getting knocked down. The other team is scoring. Like, he is not in it, and he's frustrated. And his coach is like, Carlton, what's going on? Banks, what's going on? What is wrong with you? Like, get your head in the game. He's like, I'm sorry, coach. I'm sorry. It's like, I'm sorry. He's like, man, get your head in the game. Like, where are you at? And, of course, his mind is on why his family's not there and what's going on with everything else, right? And plus his anxiety is probably tripping as well. So now, you know, Lisa, she decided to come to the game because Will asked her to come after her swim meet. So, yeah, Will is scoring. The Banks are cheering him on. You know, Will is doing his thing, and he goes to the guy. He's like, yo, you really from Malibu? And the guy's like, you really from Bel-Air? You know, they probably both from Philly playing ball, you know, the two best players. So, yeah, they playing the ball. They playing the game, and it's going real well. Will is scoring back and forth with this guy. And, yeah, the Banks are definitely showing mad love for Will, you know, and it's all good. I mean, that's his family, right? But you know who's suffering right now? Your boy Carlton. And he knocks one of the guys down, and he gets a flag on the play, you know, personal foul, whatever foul that they do in lacrosse. And he's like, man, that's BS, that's BS. He's mad because it's like, did you see that guy? Blah, blah, blah. So they kick him out. The coach is like, man, go in the locker room, get your stuff, and get off the field. Like, you're out of here. And your boy, Carlton, he is pissed off, man. Like, this dude he got anger problems. That's what he has. So now Will is dunking on cats. He's getting busy, right? And they're like, whoa. Carlton goes back into the locker room. He's frustrated. He's angry. He's like, my family's not here. I'm not playing well. They kicked me out of the game. He is just having a mental breakdown, right? Meanwhile, you know, the home team, Bel-Air's down, right, by 4. It's 52-56. And Carlton, he goes and does his stuff, right? He goes his stuff. He gets frustrated and goes and does his stuff. Meanwhile, again, your boy Will is really getting busy, dunking on cats and everything. And Carlton hears that there's a game going on in the gym. So Carlton goes to the gym, and he sees, yeah, Will is having his game, right? And he's looking over, and he sees his ex-girl, Lisa. She's at the game. So she wasn't at his lacrosse game like usual, right? So she's at his game. And the Banks, his parents, are at the game with Hillary. So now Carlton got that face, and he's like, man, nobody came to my game. Nobody came to my game. They was about to leave, but the game started to get good, and Will is going in and making things happen, right? So what happens? Will gets the ball. It comes down to 0, and Will scores the final point to make it 61-60, and they win the game. Bel-Air wins the game. Carlton's looking on with no emotion at all. I mean, anger inside is raging. They are lifting Will up. Will got his name on the back, got the jersey that he wanted, Smith, right? So he's like, yeah, you know, they praising him and everything else like that. They lifting him up over their heads. And yeah, even Lisa's screaming and yelling and cheering him on. You know, it was a great game. And of course, the Banks, they cheering him on as well. It's like, that's my nephew. That's my nephew, right? And yeah, everybody is showing love to Will. And yeah, I mean, he deserves it. He earns it. He earned it. He played ball. He did his thing. The team with his team. I mean, yeah, he scored the final point and won the game for the team. Yo, boy, Carlton, boy, man, he about to have a mental breakdown. He definitely needs some therapy. He storms out of the gym, slams the door, and yeah, man, that stuff is really getting to Carlton. So we got the dude back in Philly, and one of his boys rolls over to him, like, yo, you need to see this. You need to see this. This is about the problem that you working on, right? And he sees Will online, the Will Smith show, and that's the basketball game. It goes international, and he's like, yeah, I've been looking for you. I've been looking for you. And then he starts looking at the highlights of what Will is doing. And yeah, this cat is like, yeah, I found you, boy. I found you, boy. So now he knows exactly where Will is. And we're going to find out what happens next in episode 4. This is the recap for episode 3. But what's going to happen next now that dude knows where Will is? Is he going to go get him? What's going to happen next? Is Carlton going to have a mental breakdown? Is he going to try to hurt Will? Like, what is going to happen? This is crazy, right? We don't really know what's going to happen because these are totally different characters from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Definitely drop your thoughts and your theories below. Listen, if you're brand new, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Absolutely like and comment below, and definitely share, because we know that this is getting gooder and gooder as we go from episode to episode with Bel-Air. Yes, it goes hard. So we're going to find out what happens next. And absolutely, I appreciate you all for watching. And definitely hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I drop the next recap and review. All right, fam, I appreciate you all. And you know what it is. It's your man, VACAY-J. And until next time, salute.